Hello, everyone. Welcome back to an in-person, in real life, shouting into the void.
I hate this.
I've got the week off, so Liam is round. We're obviously recording some videos, which you may have already seen. I don't know when things are coming out, but more content for everyone.
Hooray!
But today, in this video, it's our continuing series where we discuss Doctor Who, specifically Doctor Who from the revived series in 2005. We're on Series 3, let me check. Series 3, Episode 11, Utopia. So this sees...
Utopia?
Metopia, the video game. Utopia. And this sees Martha and the Doctor thrown to the end of the universe, I guess.
In a way.
Is the phrase?
Sure.
Because Captain Jack is back, and the Doctor's like, I ain't hanging around with this, pal. Leave me
Lord,
later.
keep coming.
and yeah, they went to the end of the universe where they met a lovely professor called Professor Yana and his assistant Chantho, who are trying to save the remnants of the human race.
And they lived happily ever after.
And everything will work out fine.
Yeah.
So
It's
this
the last ever episode, Doctor Who.
this is. You should imagine this is it. They all died at the end. No more Doctor Who. Sorry. This is the start of the Series 3 finale. It's a three-part finale, and this is where it all starts to go wrong. So, what did you think of it?
It was good. It was very good.
Yep.
I very much enjoyed it. I think because I'd seen it so often, there were a few points I'm like, okay, move on.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I like how it starts off, and it's just like, I get the same feeling with Rings of Akaten. It's just like a nice adventure. And just like I just like being in this world. I feel like Don't Come For Me, Fugitive of the Jadoon stands.
Me.
This is
Yeah.
This is for me what Fugitive of the Jadoon failed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that halfway through, like, oh shit, this is a completely different story to what was set up.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel quite so jarring here for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like paying off the things you didn't even know that were being set up. With like the fob watch and everything, so that was all really cool. I think the characters in it are great. Captain Jack's a welcome return. I liked seeing his dynamic with the Doctor and Martha. I think he fits in really well with them. It's like a trio.
Oh yeah.
And then, oh shit, there's another Time Lord.
Yeah.
And oh shit, my dad's heard of this Time Lord, so I guess it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was like, well, it can't be a three-parter because they didn't do that in the
That's
previous
not a real
series.
thing.
But they did. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. I think even the slow start I think is enjoyable because the characters are really good. Bringing Jack back into it as well also kind of helps with that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just gets worse and worse and worse, and it's kind of a bit of a game changer, really, seeing things.
Worse in terms of for the characters, not the
the situation, not the
episode.
episode.
Yeah.
The episode gets better and better and better, in my opinion. But yeah, it's a very good start, I think, to the three-parter, and I look forward to seeing how I feel about the rest of it. But regardless of what I feel about the rest of it, the start is bloody good.
That's fair. I think this series finale, like all three episodes, I think for a long time have been one of my favourites, if not my favourite finale for Doctor Who. Because I think I like, and you see in this, I like all the characters in it. I think the dynamic between Jack, Martha and the Doctor is very good. I like the characters in it, the actors, the supporting cast are pretty good. I have a couple of concerns, mainly the future kind, which we'll come on to. But plot-wise it's great. This is the master reveal that the Doctor falls and world time.
How good would that have been? If
This is what they wanted for that.
Shut,
And yeah, as you mentioned, it sets up things that have been in the series that you didn't know were going to come back into play, which works well. Although, because of Fugitive of the Jadoon, and I'll put this out now, the fact that it's a fob watch doesn't necessarily point to the fact that it was a Time Lord, because obviously in Fugitive of the Jadoon it's a lighthouse or a fire alarm.
It's a whole lighthouse.
Yeah.
You have to destroy the whole lighthouse. You tip it over.
It's a fire alarm, isn't it? So that implies it could be anything, and then they kind of pay off as well in the next Doctor when the fob watch isn't real.
Yeah.
But, I guess the giveaway is the Gallifreyan writing on it more than anything else.
They just want to reuse the prop. So
Yeah, basically that. It's a cheat sheet for people going,
Yeah.
oh, I recognise that.
Now we really can negatoya this.
Yeah, literally. But yeah, so as always, we do 3 positives and 3 negatives. I've got more than 3 positives.
I've nailed it this week, I must say.
Oh, nice. I struggled to come up with a 3rd negative.
Right.
And I think my 3rd negative is very...
Mine's a bit nitpicky.
Is very nitpicky, yeah. But we'll get right onto it. So what was your first positive?
Derek Jacobi. Sir Derek Jacobi.
Yep.
And well deserved.
Yep.
I would die for that man. He's awesome. It makes me feel all warm inside knowing that he was a huge Doctor Who fan and he always wanted to be in it. So the fact that he got a chance
to
is
play
so cool.
One of the most iconic villains
Yeah.
as well.
He said he always wanted to do Doctor Who and Corrie. I don't think Corrie have called him yet.
Not yet. It's understandable. I would do
there's
it.
still
I
time.
would do it. Don't do it.
Oh. Let's get into a debate about the soaps. But yeah, Ian McKellen did Corrie. Oh my god.
I know, now they do a show together. Or they did a show
They
together.
did.
and
He
then
got
they still
cancelled
do it.
after
Oh.
2 seasons.
That's a bit vicious.
Nice.
That's the name of the show.
That was genuinely nice. Yes, well, when you have to explain it. But yeah, I think he's brilliant in this. I think you immediately warm to him. I think he's just so likable, so charming, and they do such a great job of kind of throwing you off because he does have like human memories and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's because for some reason he became a boy when he.
Yeah. Well, we assume unless that's just what he's told himself.
Yeah, he just told himself he was a naked child found in the street.
In Big Finish, he is. Because Derek Jacobi is returned as the Master in Big Finish.
True. He's like the War Master.
Yeah.
Isn't he? Yeah.
So it makes me think that that's just what he's told himself.
Yeah.
It's just fake memories.
That makes sense actually. But yeah, just as Professor Yana, you just feel really bad for him, and you want him to do well.
You want him to survive and live.
I think the moments where he can like hear the drums and like zooms in on his face, he gets the pain across. Like so well. You really feel like this guy's in actual pain. I wouldn't have been surprised if someone was literally like kicking him in the shins when they were filming those bits.
Oh, you're right. Oh, okay. So,
he was actually in pain. They're just going method acting and all that. But he's just. It makes it all the more heartbreaking when you find out actually he never really existed like that. And just that turn suddenly is a shame in a way we don't get more. I didn't make it a negative because you know it's just what it is. But when he turns around and his eyes are just so like completely different now, you're like, oh my god, this man is evil now.
Yes,
that turn.
He's very evil and sexist.
Yes. Your Shannon, though, driving me insane. So good. So I loved everything with that. So you can just want to like adopt him, like please be my granddad. For like the first 25-30 minutes.
Please don't kill me for that.
And then you just kind of low-key very very scared of him for the last bit. So kind of malicious in that turn, and to get all that across and both sides of a character in 45 minutes, he kind of made the most of every single line I think he had, and he was easily the highlight for me. He was phenomenal. One of my favourite guest stars I think we've had so far that we've covered on this. So yeah, he was fantastic. Yeah,
that's fair enough. I did Derek Jacobi and Professor Yana are my top, but I've also thrown Chantho in as well, because I feel they're I mean, I thought about separating them, but I thought they're both a pretty collective entity in the episode that I would like to put them together.
I've separated them
because I think they're both. Well, we can link them all together now.
We can.
I think Chantho is especially very wholesome. I've written literally 2 separate times in my notes. Chantho is wholesome. And I couldn't remember writing it the first time, so I wrote it again. So that says how much I was like,
it's a scene where Martha gets her to swear.
Yeah. So I like it, and then obviously everything he mentioned about Derek Jacobi as Yana and the Master, I really like. And I was disappointed. I am disappointed that we don't see more of his Master. But I know that if I want more of his Master, there is places I can go to get it. You know, he's on Big Finish. It's not necessarily the same, but if I want it, it's there. And there's also the chance that he could come back in live action at another point. You know, John Sims come back as the Master previously, so there's no reason why they couldn't bring him back if they wanted to. So yeah, I just think everything you said about Derek Jacobi is on point, and I also think Chantho and her relationship, I think, with Professor Yana is also very. It adds more depth to the two of them, and is makes it even more heartbreaking when he turns and it's
Yeah.
like she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to kill you.
Yeah.
Sorry," and then
She literally devoted like a load of her life
yeah,
to this guy, and he wasn't even like real.
he wasn't the real person. She thought it was like, "Oh my god, Chapman, oh please." Yeah, and she's just, and it gets him with the supporting cast. The supporting cast and all this are great. We don't spend that much time outside of the core five, I don't think, really, which I think helps because you can see them interact with each other. You see, obviously, how they react with each other, and you learn to like how they are, and that helps pay off with the reveal in the end as well.
Yeah.
So I assume your second was Chantho?
My third is Chantho, but I might as well just add
Yeah.
on to that really, because I think makeup wise it still holds up so well.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that design very much. The performance is fantastic. No surprise that they get the actress back in Turn Left next series. And yeah, she's just so lovable right from the off. I think the whole Chan and Tho sentencing is really
Yeah.
interesting. Kind of sets her apart. Yeah, her dynamic with the professor. They really sell that they've known each other for ages and ages. And just little interactions, like she gets a bit shy around Jack, and then a really
Who
nice.
doesn't?
Abaddon.
Oh yeah, that's
Who
true.
like eats him or whatever.
Yeah. His
So,
brother,
yeah.
Adam.
Adam. But yeah, that's my train of thought now. But yeah, I'm just thinking of Vines. Anyway, her relationship with Martha, I also really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
They had a lot of like lovely moments together. Did I write anything else about her? Oh yeah, I put a real shame to see her die.
Well, you're not wrong.
I just found her very engaging. I
Yeah.
kind of wish they could have lent in a bit more to her being the last of her species along with the Doctor, especially because then the Doctor finds out that he's not the last of his species.
Yeah.
That would have been really interesting. But
Yeah,
right up
the
until
Master
the
has
end,
to commit genocide, so.
well, so does the Doctor.
Oh. On multiple occasions.
Yeah, but the fact that even in her last moments, her last bit of strength, she's like, well, you're a prick in the end, and I'm going to shoot you in the face. And that gives us John Sin, who's a delight. So, thanks Chantho for that, I guess. But yeah, just the strength and the bravery that she kind of shows in the end. I like that really shines through. Just the good heart that she has, and it would have been so easy for her to be quite boring, I think, and just because for obvious reasons, a lot of the focus is going to be on Yana and the Master. But I think she still really sticks out amongst a group of very strong characters. Obviously the Doctor is the Doctor. Captain Jack's obviously kind of an icon at that point. Martha's had nearly a whole series to develop, so we know her quite well. And the fact that Chantho's in one episode, but I think a lot of people still remember her, kind of says a lot. So she's fantastic, and that's why I kind of gave her a separate slot.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Especially as well with all the makeup and stuff. We say it a lot. It takes a lot to portray a convincing performance with that kind of makeup on, which is great.
It still looks so good, considering that was 2007.
Yeah, and think about the criticisms we had last series about the makeup and stuff. And especially like recently with Orphan 55 and how they can just
Cool boy.
It's just sometimes the makeup team can get it so right, and this is one of the times. Yeah, the other times we will come on to eventually. So my second point, I'm gonna give to the sort of the dynamic with Jack, Martha, and the Doctor. I think we get a little bit more of it in the proper finale, next week. But in this episode, just almost as soon as they land on Malacaster or something like that, it's called, isn't it?
Something like that. Begins with them.
Yeah, as soon as they land on the planet, there's that. It's as if they've been travelling with each other, the whole series. There's no awkwardness. There's no tiptoeing around the points, except the slight moment when the Doctor snaps is like, "Stop talking about Rose, bitches."
Logging.
Yeah, which I thought was a bit harsh, but I just think they click straight away. There's no moments where you don't think that they could be a team. I think it helps that that's set up because we know how personable Martha can be. You know how she gets on with people. Obviously, Jack gets on with people because running at the same time with this was obviously Torchwood Series 2. So the audience, the adults in the audience will know what's going on. The kids will also probably know. The kids will also probably know because
the kids would have skipped episode 2 and watched.
They wouldn't be allowed to watch episode 2.
I watched about 5 minutes of episode 2.
Yeah.
When this was
Nope.
going out.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the fact that although we haven't seen him in Doctor Who, the fact that he's had this running throughout, I think, has helped set him up to be so easily put back in.
Yeah.
Which could have gone completely the wrong way, especially with the Doctor like trying to leave him behind. The fact that he doesn't then get annoyed about that and just brushes it off, I think that's good. You can see how much fun he's also having throughout, and then it just all works, I think, between the three of them. Especially, you know, the conversation about the Doctor getting his hand cut off, and it's like, why have you got my hand? Oh, I just needed a Doctor detector. And then Martha's like, the fuck?
I'm sorry.
Your hand? And I just think it all works really well, and I'm kind of gutted that we don't get as long with this TARDIS team. But I mean, we get about the same time as we had with, you know, Boomtown with Rose, Jack, and
Pretty much,
and Nine. But you know, the Doctor doesn't have two companions at once. Obviously, that's not a thing. It doesn't happen until it needs to in series 5. I think series 5 is probably when they get a proper full-time two companions with Amy and Rory.
Yeah, near the end, yeah.
Although Rory then dies. So series 6 is when they get the
Series
proper...
6 is when Arthur Dart was in the credits.
yeah, well, there you go. But yeah, I just think the three of them in this are great, and I couldn't really put one above the rest, just because I think they all stand out.
Mm-hmm.
So then, what is your second/third one?
Yes, this is my second/third. The reveal.
Yes. Yep. It's fair.
From the moment he pulls out the watch, and Martha's like, "Oh God!"
Oh my God!
Everything with that. Like,
I recognise that prop.
Yeah, and then she just asks him question after question, like, "Just turn it over and have a look."
Yeah.
And then we see that it actually is like the Gallifreyan font and stuff. Yeah, it's just we didn't even expect like a payoff for that because they'd resolved it in the Family of Blood thing, and like, oh God, there's another one.
Yeah.
So I love that, and as soon as then you kind of like, oh, this is a really cool thing, but then you kind of see it slowly dawn on the Doctor, like, oh, what if it's the bad one?
Yeah. What if it's not?
What a coinky dink. And then we're kind of alongside that, and like, oh dear, because like he just like, what did he say? What did he say? Like, is he noticing it now? And like, oh, the Doctor's kind of worried. Like, should we be concerned
He's
here?
very concerned.
And then obviously when you see Yana's hearing the voices coming from the watch, and you're like, oh boy, that's not great.
Oh no.
And then just the Yana on the screen with the "You are not alone"
with the blinking like space thing.
Yeah.
Like that,
Like, this cuts to David Tennant's face. Like,
oh
God.
shit. As the rocket takes off.
Yeah.
And it all goes down. All goes down at once.
Yeah. It all quite literally goes crazy. And yeah, I do have a few issues with like how it's all edited together and stuff, but we'll get on to that.
Yeah.
But I love that payoff for the "You're Not Alone." I mean, it would have just helped to say, by the way, the Master's going to be Professor Yana.
Yeah.
That'll save them a lot of trouble. Like, don't let him open the watch, by the way.
Yeah.
But you know, we need to be vague for a series arc.
Yep.
So I love the payoff for that. You know, I never would have guessed like it just stands for something, whatever. So yeah, I love the kind of, oh, this is a story about just saving this group of people at the end of the universe, sending them off to paradise or whatever.
Oh shit.
Off you go, little small child who won the Blue Peter competition. See your decapitated head in 2 episodes time.
Oh.
What a coinky dink.
But not your funny teeth. They fix them when they put you in the top of it.
Wow, it's bully a child live on camera. But yeah, as soon as we get to that point, because it's like 25 minutes in or something, I think, when he mentions the watch, and they've had that build up of him like having the drum beats and the echoes are like TARDIS, Time Lord is kind of getting to him. And as soon as he pulls out that watch, and you're just like, oh God, oh Lord. I just love it. I think it's such a cool way of changing up the story, but not really taking too much away from what they'd already set up, because it was basically about Yana anyway. So that was really well done, and it's just one of the, I think, the big shocks that we've had thus far, as we've kind of gone through it to this point. So I love that big reveal. It's so good. Yeah, it's also on my positive list, is the twist. Especially in an episode where they advertised it as just another kind of... Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be a part 3. They didn't advertise that it was connected to others, no. Yeah, and I think, well, watching it, and even watching it, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that the face of Bo said you're not alone, and it ties in. Because it doesn't necessarily come out of nowhere, but once you see it put together, you're like, oh yeah. And then it makes me wonder, like, did Jack spend ages trying to figure out 4 words that will match Yana? That's why he's such like a big head. He finally got to the end of his. He finally went, yes, I've got it.
Now I'll get the Doctor and I'll tell him and die. Yeah. He didn't really have it in New Earth, which
he was
is
just
why
being dramatic.
But yeah, I do really like the twist. Obviously, it helps that Derek Jacobi plays it off very well as well. I just think that it's it's one of those twists where now that you know, even though that you know it's coming, because we watched the episodes, even though you know it's coming, you're like, oh shit, every time it happens.
Yeah, you can appreciate how well done it is, I think.
Yeah. Although sometimes that can be to the detriment of the episode, where you're kind of like, oh come on, let's get to it.
I did feel that on some occasions.
Yeah.
Particularly the whole, we need to get this guy who can't die or something in this room, or we need to get these cup holder, whatever they're called.
The
I was like,
or whatever
yeah.
All right, whatever. And I don't mind that, but I think again that is a product of us having seen the episode so many times. So it's harsh to judge the episode on that.
But that's what this is all about.
No, and it is. You are right, and it does play in, and that's what also makes the Yana twist good.
Otherwise, I still really enjoy 42. So
yeah, sure. I mean, would you?
I used to really like it.
The answer is no. But yeah, I do think the Yana twist is definitely what is memorable from this episode, but it's not the only thing that people think about.
No.
It's obviously the highlight of the episode, I'd say, but people also enjoy, as we've obviously spoken about, Chantho, the chemistry.
Even if it hadn't gone in that route and Yana was just like a human guy that they were just happy about stuff, I think I'd still have enjoyed the episode, because I really liked the first 25 minutes before we even get anything like that.
Yeah, and I think sort of going on to the additional positives that I have, there's a number of different character moments when two characters are talking between each other. So I think there's obviously the one where Ten is talking to Professor Yana, like at the start, saying that you'd be revered if you were you were thousands of years earlier, that kind of thing. Although I have a nitpick to do with Ten just coming in and being like, well, hey, I've done it, but the conversation they have after that, where it's like, oh yeah, you've done all this, I came in like at the end and did it, but you put it all there. You're the actual genius.
You could have lived a whole happy life if I'd come in sooner.
Yeah, exactly.
Before he went old and grey.
I could have done it in 2 minutes, you idiot.
You fool. Using food. Who do you think you are?
You idiot. But yeah, I like that character moment. The chats between them.
Yeah.
I do like the chats between Martha and Chantho. I think that also showcases the difference between the two companions we've had so far. Is that Rose, although had that moment with Gwyneth in series 1, I don't think she had it that often moving forwards, really.
When Jack was flirting with Chantho, Rose would have gone,
oh yeah, exactly.
Why is he not flirting with me?
Yeah, and so having sort of Martha be that best friend to Chantho and sort of go with her and not like want to be stuck next to the Doctor for the whole time, I think shows her independence and how useful she is as a companion and how intelligent she actually is, which is fair enough. Again,
it shows that she is capable of kind of moving away from him. What she does in the 3 episodes.
Exactly, and even so, like, it showcases her skills in this because she tries to revive Jack twice.
Yeah,
and it's like, Rose,
Doctor, just tell her.
The first time
she's really worried, Doctor. Like, just say.
Yeah.
By the way, he can't die.
Instead of pausing for dramatic effect so that he revives,
just the right moment.
Right moment.
Jack, when I say, well, I need you to go.
Yeah. But yeah, I like that, and then obviously the most important one I like is the conversation between Ten and Jack at the door to that room. And obviously it's a bit convoluted the way they have to go there and whatever, but it also shows that both of the companions have their unique skills that help the Doctor out. Jack obviously has that now because he helps the Doctor with this, and then what was the other one where he's like, oh, what would you have done if I wasn't here, when he was like, something happened and the Doctor was going to get hit or something.
Yeah, I think they were going to open like the thing with the rocket, wasn't he?
And he almost fell off the door. Yeah, which is
I mean, they would have been fucked if Jack wasn't there.
yeah. But I was like, Doctor, why would you just run without looking? Like, calm down. But
You're just so excited.
So it does showcase that. But yeah, the conversation between Ten and Jack at the door, I think, is a really nice one. Both about why the Doctor leaves people behind and why he left Jack behind, and also how Jack feels sort of about himself at this moment. Obviously, having lived through hundreds of years and having just had to experience being killed by Satan himself, I guess, in the series 1 finale of Torchwood, which just isn't mentioned in this. There's no reference to this massive dog demon man that was towering over Cardiff probably a day before they arrived.
Wow.
But it's fine. But yeah, I just love the little character moments between them all. I just think it's all really nice. Even the conversation between the Master and the Doctor right at the end, when he's trying to plead with him not to go, and he's like, "Fuck you, I'm off.
Yeah.
See you later." I just think there's some really nice moments there. So that's one of my additional ones. But have you got any other additional points?
I don't really think so.
Well, I have quite a few more.
Okay,
Well, no, actually,
okay.
well, I like the setting, the location we're at, and the
Yeah.
lore with the world ending and the universe, whatever. And I like the idea that there's this one safe haven, which obviously we'll come on to.
I do like
next
how they
week.
got there. Jack holding on Talisman Shrine.
Yes,
I really like that idea.
Yeah,
It's
and I
really
even
cool.
put in my notes, and I think everybody says it. They missed the trick not having him cling to the TARDIS during the credits when it's going through the vortex. It's like
Stay tuned
just
for
put
some
him on.
fun
And,
facts.
and I'm sure that will be one because everybody says, "Why didn't they do it?"
Yeah.
And I always think it's gonna be there when I put the episode on, but it's not.
Absolutely hilarious.
But I always think that.
I think it would have been maybe a bit too fun.
Yeah. I love the setting. Although the set design as well. Although it's quite basic, you do feel like it's the end of the universe.
Mhm.
Even though it's just a quarry and Wales and then some corridors, you do feel that you're stuck there.
Yeah.
I also love the introduction of John Sim as the Master.
That scream. As he's
I
doing
know,
it,
right?
That's always terrifying.
Yeah,
it's
it is.
such a good.
Because he's also got like the weird CGI because it's not
It's still
quite
like a
his
mix
face,
of
is it?
both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so I really like his introduction. I think he is my favourite Master.
Right.
So I'll be biased for the next
Yeah,
3
you've never
episodes.
mentioned that.
And that's why it annoys me that they botched the reveal in Capaldi's last series.
I know.
But we will come on to that
The
eventually.
BBC.
Yeah, just John Sim in this is great. I think even just in his 2 minutes, you already get a sense of who his Master is, even though he's only been that for like literally a minute,
Mhm.
30 seconds. And I'm excited to see more of him going forwards. Also, I'm happy that Captain Jack's back in the show. I think he always adds a different dynamic to the group whenever he appears in
Yeah.
whatever situation, whether that's now, next series, or Fugitive of the Jadoon. I always think he brings something different to
Snogging by
to
the
the
Rosh.
thing. Yeah, exactly. He just brings a different, because he is that character that can bring in. He doesn't have to be someone that you can relate to. He can be the one that's outlandish and is alien, even though he's not. He is a human, isn't he? But he's a human from the future that's on a different planet.
I think so. Sure.
I think it's a bit of a blur.
Let's say yes.
But I just think because he's obviously the Doctor doesn't really have any non-human companions, and I think Jack acts as like that alien companion that they in theory could have, but they just never seem to.
Yeah.
At least in the revived show. But yeah, so that's, as you can tell, I quite like the episode. But that is the end of my positives. So we'll get on to the negatives.
Oh boy.
My big one, which might be yours, the future kind.
Yeah, that's my first.
I've put here future kind / forced conflict.
Yeah, I put future kind / wiry woman because that's how she's credited in the
Right.
credits.
Yes. So I get why they had the future kind in it, because they clearly just needed some kind of threat that wasn't.
Yeah.
We need to leave.
I
They
just think
needed
they're
a
bit
visible
shit.
threat. All they are is teeth and scraggly hair,
Yeah.
and that's about it. But I also think that they're not in the episode too much, like to make me think they ruin it.
No.
So they're in it at the start to sort of, for some reason, that one guy's out out by himself. I don't know why, but maybe he. When the Target novelization comes out, we'll get a reason as to why he come out. Maybe he was
boy.
following his parents that are already there and he crashed and whatever.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't mention it.
But I just feel that they were just put in because they just needed a visible threat that wasn't this.
Yeah, they needed someone
Time
to
to fight against.
Jack and Martha to hold the dog
Yeah,
against.
yeah. They needed a reason why they had to escape quickly rather than
Yeah.
wait around.
I think if, the Yana Master thing wasn't a thing,
Yeah.
they would have had plenty of time to make them a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
But
They are secondary.
the episode is not really about them, but I don't think that can really necessarily excuse.
No. Although I do like
Parents.
the main future kind leader man. I think he gives a great performance in like his 2
and he
scenes.
goes on to play the trickster in the Savage Adventures.
There you go. So he's also very good in that.
He is.
Also with pointy teeth.
Yes. Maybe they're just his actual teeth.
Yeah, maybe. Could you imagine? They just have to mould everyone else's around there. I mean, they're not really given that much backstory. I mean, even Yana says they're not really called the Future Kind. They're just what they call them.
It's a myth or something.
And I guess they just eat humans.
Human.
Yeah, that's also it. Like, just grab him, then scream. Don't just stand there and scream. But fine, whatever. It's just there to add in a little action sequence kind of thing, and they don't make me think, oh, this episode's terrible. You know, it helps that they're not really the main villain. They're just sort of a secondary threat. Although they are a bit ham on the wiry woman that you have to know she's evil because she went and you can see her teeth.
All her lines were.
And then, stop, die, shoots.
It's so obvious that she's just there to sabotage the thing.
Yeah.
And then they can't kill her quick enough.
But at some point, they've already done it, and she just stands there. I'm like, surely you're shooting the machines as well at this point. Could you just fire randomly? God's sake. But yeah, I don't think she's the best. But again,
No.
she's not there. I mean, she doesn't even... What?
I have a problem with that because they don't explain how she got in and snuck in.
Yeah.
They thoroughly check people's teeth. Even when
Yeah.
the future kind of like right there and they could eat these people right in front of them.
Yeah.
They're like, show me your teeth.
Yeah. So,
If they just like gave a hint, but
I mean,
because she just goes,
yeah.
we can't get an explanation.
Again, maybe in the
In the
novelisation,
novelisation,
they could...
she probably chewed her way through the fence
Well,
or
it's
something.
either that, or they could argue that maybe the master was coming through to Yana and he let her in to cause problems. Maybe there's like the master personality is like forcing Yana to do strange things before the Doctor arrives. Maybe unlikely, but you could see it. You know, same in like how in Human Nature and Family Blood the Doctor did Doctor things like with the cricket ball, but didn't realise he was doing
Someone
it.
just left the door unlocked, I think.
Yeah, all that. And yeah, it's like even she sabotages things by not really sabotaging them. Yeah, sure, it kills Jake, the poor scientist man that gets burned alive. Get out! Nah, I'm gonna keep pressing the buttons.
I'm going to die.
So they kill. They all she does is kill him. I mean, I guess it's more of a convenience thing that it's good that Jack was there to whatever. But she doesn't really do anything. The reason why the future can't get in is because the master lets them in. It's not anything this woman did.
Yeah.
So they didn't necessarily need to be in it. They could have just gone, oh, it's got too hot and he's died. How are we ever going to solve it? And then put Jack in without having the future kind lady get in there.
Yeah. They didn't need to have her sabotage anything.
No, I feel we were too very harsh on the future kind, but they are the weakest point of
Easily
the episode.
the weakest
So,
bit, yeah.
but as I mentioned, they're not in it long enough to feel like they ruin it.
No.
At least for me.
I think everything else is so good, they just really stick out as being quite bland to me. Like, even like appearance wise, there's not that much to work with.
No.
It does almost feel like this was the cheaper episode, in a way.
Ironic, considering there's Chantho as well.
Yeah. And I think that also doesn't help that Chantho looks so good with her design. And then there's just people with tattoos and
It's just
sharp
vampires.
teeth. Yeah. So,
Yeah. Fair enough.
yeah, I just like I said, not enough time to delve into them. Not much to read into design wise either. And yeah, it's never explained how the wiry woman got into the silo.
No.
And even when she doesn't really do anything but hiss.
Hiss and
They could have easily
smash
just got rid of that
a bin.
entirely.
A bin into the wall. I
Yeah,
think.
they could have gotten rid of her whole bit
Yeah.
and dug into Chantho being the master of the kind a bit more or something.
Yeah, definitely.
But you know what?
It's fine.
At the end of the day, they're not even a threat because they just teleport away. So.
Yeah, it's fine. They don't need to be there. So sort of my next positive is, and we had it with Blink, conveniences.
Right.
Things just sort of happen. Oh, there we go. Fine, good.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jack managing to get to the TARDIS in time with just knowing the hand bubbling is a massive convenience.
Yeah.
Because I guess he just assumes that the Doctor is nearby because the hand bubbles at the end of Series 2 of Torchwood. Obviously, we don't really... It just gets thrown away as the Doctor detector. But there's no, like, screen on it to say, Doctor nearby, or something like that. If maybe... And this probably might be a criticism maybe of what should be in Torchwood. But if maybe in Torchwood he was looking at CCTV and saw the TARDIS and then saw the hand going off, maybe then that would have made it a bit more believable.
Yeah, so they do have the TARDIS sound effect, I think, at the end, but that's only when Gwen and all that walk in, they then hear it.
And even so, you know, that's, I assume, when he's already run off and it's right above them, isn't it? Because that's like where right above the hub. But it's fine. You know, that's probably more of a criticism that should be addressed in Torchwood rather than this episode, because in this episode there's not really an explanation as to why Jack found him, just that he detected him.
Yeah, and even in that sense, especially when it's a show that's marketed more towards like adults and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think it necessarily should be like you need to watch.
No, and
this adult show.
they steer away from that in series 2, don't they? Really, because
Yeah.
nothing towards the end of series 2 links to Doctor Who. Obviously, they're in it in Doctor Who,
Yeah.
but it's not a you need to see this to see how they got there.
No.
Because we don't know who the TARDIS team is if you're only or the Torchwood team is, sorry, if you're only watching Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So for all you know, this Torchwood team's all that's been in there.
Yeah.
But obviously that's not the case. I would urge everyone to go see Torchwood if you're old enough, because it is definitely worth watching. Especially series 3 of Torchwood is the highlight.
Oh hell yeah.
But that's the highlight. And then, as mentioned earlier, 10 just comes in and goes, "Oh yeah, I'm smart. I fixed it. There you go. Bye."
Yeah, I'm brilliant by the way.
See there. They just candidly pick up the TARDIS. Fine. How could they not get back to the TARDIS in time? Okay.
Yeah.
Guess I can do it. Also, the biggest convenience of all is that the Master is there in the first place.
Yeah,
'Cause,
of all the Time Lords
you
who
know,
did survive and
First of all, it's
get
the
away.
Master and not just any other Time Lord. Secondly, the only reason they're there is because Jack latched onto the TARDIS. So it's just a big convenience that it's all ended up there, which, again, I can forgive because that's the state of every episode. It's a convenience they've shown up at this time for this to happen.
Yeah.
So I can forgive it, because if that didn't happen, if you travel enough times, you're going to end up doing something, and that's the whole point of the show.
Yeah.
So there are things I can let go, but it's kind of like, when you think about it, when you watch it enough times, you're like, oh, hang on a minute, kind of like Blink, you know, what if, thank God she kept tearing the thing, you know, thank God that she ran it, you know, all that other stuff, but it's fine, I can see past it.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your second negative?
Lots and lots of exposition flashbacks.
That's my third, overuse of flashbacks.
Yeah. The audience is not stupid.
Yep.
I think even if people, this is the first episode of the series they've watched for whatever reason, maybe they work night shifts or whatever, and they've just tuned in, they haven't caught up yet, like, I'll just watch it live, it's fine. It's only Utopia.
Yeah. It's not the finale or anything.
No. Even if you give them all those exposition flashbacks, they're going to be like, well, who the fuck's the Master? I haven't seen the
Who the hell is that bony man?
If they've never seen Doctor Who before, like, who the fuck is Captain Jack?
Who's the face of Bo?
Like, who's the face of Bo?
Who's
Like,
this big
you can
face
show a
that's
picture
really-
of him, but
Yeah.
you didn't clarify that that's the face of Bo to people who like saying it. So it's not like they even explained everything in the flashbacks anyway, but it still felt like, oh, that's quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, people do complain in like later years, oh, it relied way too much on its history.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, do you remember this thing?
Yeah.
Because it's just a Doctor Who thing. Like,
Mhm.
I don't think it's particular
No.
eras.
It's a show that's been going on for 58 years.
Yeah.
Sorry. So it's going to be doing that.
Because I don't get the complaints about that.
No.
Because I would say watch Doctor Who from the start.
Mm.
Otherwise, don't bother.
Yeah.
To be quite honest. Because that's what you're going to really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if you're watching like Silent Witness or something, series 25, and you're like, well, I don't know who these characters are. They're just talking about, like, they've had like 10 years getting to know Nicky
20
Alexander
years.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. However long, Amelia Fox has been on that now, probably longer than I've been alive.
They're all on BBC iPlayer, so.
It's true. I did watch the very first one the other day. But, you know, it's kind of a proud institution kind of thing.
Mhm.
They celebrate, you know, they're doing a whole, it's our 25th series next year.
Mhm.
We're bringing back the original star for 6 episodes. It's kind of something to be celebrated. Not like, oh, they're referencing the original character.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who that is.
It's the same thing that applies to like things like Star Wars as well.
Yeah.
When like spoilers for Mandalorian season 2, when Luke Skywalker shows up at the end, like most people find that people are like, oh, I can't believe they're referencing. I can't believe they brought him back. I'm like, it's Star Wars. Obviously, they're going to use any chance they can get to reference one of their most iconic characters.
Yeah.
Just let it happen. If you don't like it, stop watching it.
So-
And yeah, I get it.
Yeah. They're just like, oh, it's just like, it's kissing its own arse, whatever. I'm like, what show doesn't do that?
Yeah.
You know,
Especially
you
when
don't
it's
expect to
going
like tune into EastEnders on a Thursday night,
Yeah.
and like if you haven't seen it in 10 years, like, oh, I don't know anything that's going on. This is rubbish.
Yeah.
Like, well, you haven't fucking watched it in 10 years, have you? Put the effort
Yeah.
in. Like, Google's right there if you want
Yeah.
to get caught up. You know, I think if you really don't want to like go back and like just quickly Google, what happened then, if you don't
How
have time
did
to
the
watch it or
Doctor lose
whatever,
his hand?
then don't watch it, because I
Yeah.
guess you're not going to be invested enough. And that's absolutely fine. Fair enough. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But don't hold that against the show that is referencing itself,
Yeah.
I would say. That being said, in one singular episode, to reference a series that at this point people would have watched the entire thing.
There's only been what, 20.
Yeah, and even just
6 episodes.
series 3 at this point.
Yeah.
You know, you only need to watch like the 10 that came before. Not even that really. You know, some of them are kind of
Right.
further-ish.
Yeah.
It just felt a bit like we're not thick. We do kind of know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's like celebrating the show's history, which I think has happened a
including,
lot.
like, the Master and stuff.
Yeah,
It's fine.
but then just referencing the last 2 months of episodes you probably would have seen, if not, you know, heard about the news and stuff. It felt a bit too much. Like, you can talk about it, sure, but then
Don't show it.
flashbacking it, you don't need to, especially when you then don't flashback everything anyway. Because people may not know who the Master is. I didn't when they said. Yeah, they wouldn't, like, okay, what's the context of this watch then? They don't know, they might not know who Captain Jack is, they're not going to know who the Face of Bo is. There's just lots of things like that. Like, explain it all, or, you know, assume that the audience is smart, because they are.
Yeah, that's fair, because I think the most criminal flashbacks in this is the Sycorax one, to cut off his hand.
Yeah, that's another
I'm
one,
like, we don't need to see that. Just say it got cut off on that will boost your DVD sales of the Christmas Invasion, and people going and be, oh, what's that, and going back to watch it. But also, yeah, as you mentioned, you know, they mentioned he's got the same watch, but we never see a flashback to that watch. I don't think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, either show everything or don't show anything. I guess, at least with the Master's watch, you can kind of say they do try a little bit with the voices coming from it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, even a flashback won't help you know who the Master is. It's just going to be some guy.
And at that point, it was literally 2 weeks before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially. And it's like, with the Face of Bo as well, and saying Yana, it's like, they say it so many times. Oh, remember what the Face of Bo said?
Yeah, because when it cuts to
Here's
that,
the Face of Bo
you don't know that's the Face of Bo if you haven't
it's just
seen
a big
it.
mouth.
Like, they've mentioned that before, but you may not. That's going to be a throwaway line for you if you don't know who the Face
So,
of Bo
like,
is.
I get sometimes they need to use it to emphasise points. Again, maybe it's a time issue. Maybe they wanted to add more. I think this is only 41 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's obviously running a bit under anyway. So maybe they were like, look, we just need to get it for 40 minutes, and then.
I think references for celebration, maybe not exposition, I think work a lot better.
Yeah.
And especially not when it happens so often in a 41-minute episode.
Yeah. So like references. So if we're going to compare it to recently, I just watched the Timeless Children. References in terms of flashbacks when she does the Matrix thing and you see all the doctors flash up and everything. That's good, but it's when, like in this, oh, I got my hand chopped off. Here's the Sycorax that you don't know who this alien is, cut off his hand, and you don't even see it grow back.
You just told us that.
And then he's like, oh yeah, I grew it back, but you don't see him then go, whoa, like.
Well, how did you grow it back?
Yeah. Well, that's
I just grew it back.
Yeah, understandable. Yes. So that's the end of my negatives. Have you got?
I feel like I went really hard on that one.
You that was a personal vendetta for that one.
It's just because I get really pissy when people are like, the Moffat era. I'm like, well, yeah.
And then in this
it's a show coming off its 50th anniversary.
And then especially in Jodie, where it's like, series 1, no references. Oh, I can't believe they're doing, like, I can't believe there wasn't more
Yeah, it's like
references.
it's a completely different show. It's not even Doctor Who.
And then they add more references.
And the references are like,
oh, I can't believe you've done so many references.
Oh, they just want to get all the viewers back in now.
You just want to bring in the Jadoon because people know what it is.
You can't win, so just do what you're going to do.
Yeah.
But at least try and do it well and celebrate it.
Yeah.
You know,
like, a good series of Doctor Who has a mix of new and old villains. That's how it is.
Yeah.
That's how it normally is.
Like, I get it. I get the complaints with the Brigadier stuff in the Moffat era, because you haven't seen him in the new series.
Yeah, and you don't even see him in.
No, he's in Seven Adventures.
Adventures. Yeah.
So I understand that complaint entirely. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But I didn't know who the Brigadier was until Nicholas Courtney died.
No.
And then I did the research. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. They referenced him and killed him off. Well, it's not cool. They killed him off, obviously.
No,
he died.
yeah.
But then I'm just informed. I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
So those references can then hit home even more so when I rewatch like classic series stuff.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm lecturing like, oh, just put the work in, you lazy bastard.
Yeah, it is.
But you know,
I get what you mean.
It comes from watching the TV show. That's
and again, it's like
a British institution.
Yeah, and it's like with Star Wars, with The Mandalorian, when there are references to things like they're on Tatooine, and obviously you see all the other things, and people are like, "Oh, I can't believe they had Jawas in it." I'm like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
It's fine. If you don't like it because of that issues, just stop watching it, because it's never going to be fresh to you for the first time.
So I get like casual viewers, etc. I'm like, oh, you don't want to put off casual viewers.
Yeah.
But at this point, the show's been back for like God knows how many years, like 16, 17 years, whatever. Like, the people who are still watching it after 16, 17 years are the people who are just going to watch it every week and know everything about it. Really.
And I'm sure every time a new series comes out, there's a surge in people starting from series 1 again to watch it all the way through.
Yeah. So if you're a casual viewer, I don't want to be like, you're doing it wrong, you're not a fan. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. But
you'll get more out of it if you watch everything else.
Yeah, I don't say it's bad if you don't understand it when the information is out there, I guess.
Yeah.
Or if, the show gives you... like, this is giving you context, but also it isn't. Because it's not giving you the full picture.
Yeah.
It thinks it's telling you what you need to know, but it isn't.
But we only know that because we know what it's supposed to be trying to tell us.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're watching this in isolation for the first time, you're not going to know, even though they've done the flashbacks.
If I watched this and my dad wasn't watching it with me, I'd be like, Master.
Like, okay, that sounds cool. See you next week.
But then I had my dad be, and then he's an evil Time Lord in the classic series. Like, okay, cool. That's
and then also when we watched it was 2007, so the internet wasn't exactly peaked at that point, so it was a lot more effort for us to go and find it. But I feel they do a good job next week, which we'll come on to, explaining who the Master is. So you can still wait, and that is done in a better way than it is showing how he got his hand cut off.
Yeah. Because as great as the reveal is, like, oh, it's the Master, and that's supposed to be a big moment. If you don't know who the Master is, you're like, okay, that's fun.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the same with like Magician's Apprentice. Oh, my name's Davros. Who's that then?
Yeah, and even so, like, it's, you see the Doctor's reaction, like, oh, that must be bad if you don't know what it is, and it then gets explained to you in the episode, which is better than it just being, oh, I'm Davros, quickly cut to Stolen Earth, here's Davros, and then cut back again. It's not.
I didn't realise this bothered me so much. This has been like.
This is a
20 minute
time.
We're on 48 minutes.
Just your,
I haven't done my last negative yet.
It's alright. We're done with my negatives.
I'm not a miserable bastard, I promise.
It's just this one vendetta is really
somehow this is really... This is like...
It's really come to fruition.
10 years of seeing people shit on that era. And I'm like,
on all of
this is unwarranted, folks.
Yeah, we'll see. When Russell comes back in 2 years' time, as soon as he references... the Timeless Children, people will be like, oh, I can't believe he's done that. I can't believe he's referenced that.
Yeah.
I can't believe he's brought back the Sontarans.
You can't win.
No. Yeah. Just if you enjoy it, If you don't, stop watching. Stop watching and let everyone else enjoy it. All right. You don't need to share your negative views unless it's your negative views about how about racism. You can happily say don't be racist and go at people who are racist. But if people like something that you don't like, i.e. Doctor Who or Star Wars, don't shit on them. Because you don't like it.
Or if you do a YouTube series where you also preface it with a couple of positive things.
Yes.
For instance.
Yes. So, your final
That being
negative,
said, I do have another negative, but this is kind of the nitpicky one.
Yeah.
The music track.
Yeah.
God, that's in it a lot. It literally once, there's a moment when, I think it's when Martha's running down the corridor, it plays.
No.
It's about
a
10-second gap when something else happens, and then it starts again.
Yeah.
That happens, like, that's the second half of the episode is basically that track on loop.
Yeah.
And I just noticed it this time, just so happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that gets used up a lot. And again, that's just like a tiny little thing, but I need the third one.
I mean, I can forgive it because I really like I've mentioned before, I really like the soundtrack to Series 3, especially
that's the same, like, the I Am the Doctor complaints that I guess they've used. I don't mind, because I really like that track.
And I really like a lot of Murray
Gold.
I like a lot of music in Doctor Who, to be fair. I think everything, especially from Series 3 onwards, is great. But except for the 50th anniversary, which I'm still very bitter and disappointed about.
Yeah, that's your negative.
Make some new music. Stop using
They
the old
didn't
stuff.
have money.
What?
They had to pay David Tennant and Billy Piper.
Clearly.
And John Hurt.
You did need to pay Billy Piper. She didn't need to be in it. If she wasn't going to be the companion, she didn't need to be in it. For God's sake. Oh yes, I'm sure David Tennant, the Doctor, loved Rose more than he loved his bloody granddaughter. Or daughter, for that fact. For fuck's sake.
But again,
anyway,
there would be people watching that being like, who's that?
Yeah, and people would have been like that. And it doesn't help that people will be like... Because people are going to see that and be like, oh, Rose! And then it's like, no, it's not Rose. Shut up. I'm like, so what's the point? If you're not going to have her in as Rose and have some convoluted way to say it's Rose, don't put it in. we'll get there. We got a while
This is
before
a
we get
series
there.
of tangents.
We might get.
I
to the
really like
details.
this episode, by the way.
That's it. Well, we're not complaining about the episode. We're complaining about the show now. That's what
The
this
problem is, I'm
to.
pretty sure this is my favourite of the three, so this isn't good.
But yeah, I mean, going back to your last negative, I do like the music, but I do get what you mean.
Yeah.
But it's also the track itself is that repetitive.
And it's just
thing.
because, so often I don't notice the music, and that's kind of its job.
Yeah.
The fact that I noticed it, I thought I should point that out.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And that was actually the first negative I wrote down, and I thought.
Oh, check you out. So in terms of my other notes, I didn't like Chantho saying she drinks her internal milk.
Yeah, that was the thing.
I liked the doctor being like, have you had work done? And then
You
like,
can talk.
Excuse me.
And it was funny because John Byerman had actually had Botox.
Yeah, you can
between
definitely tell.
Series 1 and 3. Little in joke there.
Yeah, I thought 10 snapped a little bit a couple of times when talking about Rose, which I kind of get.
Fine.
Because to be fair, the Rose mentions weren't in our negatives, and I don't think they're overdone in this. I think it makes sense to have them included.
That's alright.
Because Jack, she's on the list of the dead.
I mean, they do have 3 separate conversations about her.
Yeah.
Which I could have done without. But
yeah, it doesn't necessarily need to
I
be
don't
there.
think it detracts too much.
Yeah, I mean, I can accept it the first time when they're explaining it, and then in the room when they're having the DMC basically.
Yeah.
But not now. Yeah, Crete isn't the worst child actor I've ever seen.
No.
Which is great. I said Jack's always ready to bang.
Yeah.
The way he says hello to the attractive male refugee. It's like, well, okay. The rocket design is a bit crap. It is literally just a silo.
I suppose that's the point.
Yeah, I know, but it just looks, it's fine. I get why it is, but
yeah,
fine. Yeah, and I feel bad for Chantho. I love the reveal of the Master. The fact that everything just goes into panic mode as soon as the watch is revealed, I love.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's great. And then when Jack's like, oh yeah, I think it's fantastic, I'm like, oh, it's so wholesome because it's the Ninth Doctor reference, and you can see Ten being like, oh, that's me.
It me.
But yeah, I did really like it. And I say this is a good episode. Have you got some fun facts?
I do.
Nice.
A whole page of them.
Oh my.
Right. This is a long one. This episode marks the first 3-part story since Survival, which was the final story of the classic series, which also happens to feature the Master.
Oh.
But in terms of screen time, it is more equivalent to a traditional 6-parter. So this, you could say, was the first 3-part 45-minute episode story since 1985's The Two Doctors, featuring the 2nd and 6th Doctors.
2nd and 6th?
Yeah, it's quite the pairing.
I was going to say, yeah.
Have you seen it?
No,
Some
I haven't.
Tyrans are in it and they look awful.
Oh, maybe I have. I think I have. I've got it on DVD somewhere.
The 2nd Doctor becomes a cannibal.
Maybe I've not.
And he gets like ginger eyebrows and stuff.
Okay,
He gets infected
I'm going
by
to watch
zombies.
it now, but...
It's quite it's one of the first classic stories I watched.
Oh,
I'm like,
Christ.
what is going on here? But yeah, it's also Patrick Chan's last appearance in the show.
Oh.
Check it out, even though it's weird. Promotion for this story purposely avoided showing its connection to the following 2 episodes, which was a very smart move. The voices from the Watch were all recorded by Derek Jacobi, but one line from Roger Delgado's original
And
Master
you can tell because
in a clip taken from the Demons. The quality is
the quality changes for that one.
the laugh heard is Anthony Ainley's trademark laugh from his tenure. Eric Roberts gave permission for his voice to be used, but Fox refused, so the clip had to be cut.
Fuck you, Fox.
Justice.
Just let us enjoy
Justice
the
for
TV
Eric.
movie, please. You already ruined it.
Justice for being
I mean,
dressed
you
for the
didn't ruin
occasion.
Like, come on. The TV movie's good.
Yes. Graham Harper's directorial signature of a character being distorted appears yet again here, with the Master being obscured by a magnifying glass. It continues in all his following stories he directs. There is a magnifying glass in The Unicorn and the Wasp, like Donna uses.
Right.
There are some mirrors in Turn Left, and there's a curved window in Journey's End, apparently. I haven't checked that one. But
Journey's End.
yeah. This is the first time 3 names are presented in the opening credits.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
This is the second time a Time Lord is seen regenerating stood up. And this is the first time in the revived series that a Time Lord other than the Doctor is visibly regenerating.
I mean, this has been 3 series, and this is the first time we've seen another Time Lord.
It's a fun fact. It was
Yeah,
written
right.
down.
It
I
was
wrote it
written
down.
down.
Stop moaning.
Somebody was like, "Oh, I need a fun fact."
We've
to put
moaned
inside
enough
the image.
about fandom
Yeah,
things
you're right.
in this one.
Sorry.
Come on, we need to restore our reputation here. We're not grumpy old men, even though we're old and grumpy.
I know.
This is the first on-screen appearance of the Master since the TV movie. Odds. The cut to the future kind before the titles kicked in had to be included, as the credits wouldn't have gelled with Jack also holding onto the TARDIS. Tennant and Russell T Davies joked in the commentary for this episode that they should have remade the title sequence with the CGI Jack holding on.
Yep.
But money, I
They
guess.
should have. They probably didn't even think. I bet they didn't even think of it until they said it in that commentary.
Yeah.
They're
Quick,
like,
get the actor
oh,
back
you're
in."
right. Oh, we should have, because they could obviously change it to have John Barrowman's name come up. So just
Yeah.
stick him on it. God's sake.
This is the first time in the revived series that the Doctor uses the sonic screwdriver vertically, which was the norm for the classic series.
Oh, is that when he tries to unlock
Yeah,
the...
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Oh.
John Bell, who played Crete, entered the Blue Peter competition to appear in the episode. He beat out 8,000 other applicants.
Bloody hell.
Imagine sorting through all those. I bet they just threw half of them in the bin.
Oh,
Didn't even look at them.
It first of all, they saw if it was written by a parent or a kid. And if it was written by
Yeah.
a kid, they went, nope.
No.
Got rid of it.
But Russell T Davies actually called him in person to
Oh.
say,
God,
yeah, you got
could
the
you
part.
imagine that? And then never saw him again because he would have been too
And then
busy
never
working
saw
on
him
other
again
stuff.
because he killed him off 2
Yeah.
episodes later. Yana's costume drew inspiration from the first Doctor's outfit. Sacha Dhawan goes on to use previous Doctor's costumes for inspiration for his own master.
Oh.
Much later. Dialogue cut from the episode explained that Jack recovered the Doctor's hand from the roof of a newsagent.
See, that would have been better than just saying I've got it cut off and showing there was a Sycorax.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Just do
I
that.
would love
but
to
in-
have seen him get that.
But like, instead of having the flashback to the Sycorax, just cut it and like, oh yeah, I had it cut off, and then Jack went, yeah, I had to rescue it from the top of a roof, and then have it
Yeah.
like struggle up and pick it up.
See
That would be
him
much better.
Buying a copy of Doctor Who magazine and
Could you imagine? Yeah. Just he's
sneaking
just
the
stood
hand out
underneath,
behind it.
just walks out with like a cornet or something, and goes, what? Just go dunk.
What the hell? Talk about coincidences. The future kind originally travelled around on quad bikes. This was abandoned for safety issues. Thank God.
That
They'd
feels
have been
very
even
Mad Max,
shitter.
doesn't it?
This is actually the second time Derek Jacobi has played the Master, having voiced him in Scream of the Schalke,
Obviously.
starring Richard E. Grant. David Tennant also had an uncredited role in that production.
Yeah.
And then, most interestingly of all, I didn't know this, but the Doctor's response to the Master asking him to use his name was originally intended to reveal who Yano actually was, but the writing team thought it would be a pity for Jacobi not to say the iconic "I am the Master" catchphrase. So it's
Which he does
changed.
very well. It's a very nice scene. The Master. Yeah. I feel like, Derek Jacobi's Master is definitely... I feel if we got more screen time with him, he would be definitely up there for everyone
He
in
would
terms
have been
of
the best, I
Masters.
think,
But
So
obviously
good.
Big Finish is quite pricey and isn't accessible to everyone,
yeah. And
unfortunately.
I'm not as good at absorbing just audio. I
No,
think
yeah,
I'm like a visual learner,
yeah,
as
yeah,
school
yeah.
told me.
Definitely. But yeah, I think his brief stint as Master is very good. It really sets his tone,
Yeah.
and the tone for John Sim, with him obviously
And
treating
I like
women
that
terribly.
he clearly loved it because he's come back to do Big Finish.
Yeah, exactly. And I bet you in a heartbeat he'd come back to do the show
Oh,
full
yeah.
time.
It'd be great.
Well, that leaves one question to
Yes,
to
I
go.
just remembered that, so I had to open it to see what I wrote down.
So, out of 10, what are you rating Utopia?
I've gone for 8.5.
Same.
Snap!
Same. Obviously, it's a little bit lower than Blink.
Yes.
Just because I feel that the fact that Blink is a standalone episode, I think, means that it relies on less.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing you can watch without feeling you need to go and watch everything else, and you can just come in and
And
whatever.
it doesn't have the future kind in it.
And does have the future kind in it, yeah. There's definitely less. There's less to complain about with Blink,
Yeah.
as shown in this. The fact that we just went on a massive tangent.
I mean, I do feel bad for Utopia because I did give Blink a 10. So anything following that wasn't gonna.
Yeah, at least I
It was
gave
gonna
what
be.
I gave Blink a what?
You gave it a 9, I think. didn't you?
9, something like that. So yeah, mine's pretty close.
But 8.5
Um,
is still.
and again, I really like this
That's 17 out of 20. So
this
that's very,
finale.
very good.
And speaking of the finale, that does bring us on to next week, which is it's the sound of drums. By including the song Voodoo Child.
Hey now, baby,
So,
baby. Oh,
this-
I also
this is,
I checked BBC iPlayer and it has the I Can't Decide to see.
Nice. So we will talk about
I can
that.
watch that on iPlayer and
Um,
not have to worry.
But yeah, so next week is the sound of drums, which is the official start of the finale, or it was at the time.
Yes.
And it sees the Doctor, Martha, and Jack make their way back to
Making my way back home.
21st century England, where the Master is the Prime Minister.
What?
How did he do
A
that?
corrupt politician? What?
Politics.
Politics in my Doctor Who? I love that people will just stare you straight in the face and say
There's no
Doctor
politics.
Who's political now because of a female Doctor.
Yeah.
When the Master
was the Prime
is
Minister.
a corrupt politician.
and then
the
make
prime
reference to that.
fucking minister.
Oh, God.
Hilarious.
But yes, so they come back and he's in charge, and they become fugitives, and they just need to stop the master. Basically, that's the plot for the next 2 episodes.
Yeah, they
have to
make
stop the
some
master.
key necklaces. It's really sweet.
Yeah. So what do you remember, or what do you think about Sound of Drums from memory?
I remember it being quite slow for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone says, oh, they're on the run, they're just hanging out in the streets from the master hiding.
Yeah.
That doesn't interest me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely in a place where I could be very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
And I think I probably will be. I hope I am.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's going to be a lot of character stuff in that,
Mm-hmm.
which I wouldn't have appreciated at the time.
Yeah, you just wanted action.
Because I watched it when it first aired and stuff. I probably thought, yeah, whatever. And I haven't really touched it since then.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what that could mean. Great scene where the Tocqueville killed that woman and he keeps opening the door to hear her scream.
Oh, yeah.
That's bloody brilliant.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that. That's so dark but also hilarious.
Yeah.
And I know I love John Sim as the master in that, and Lucy
he'll be a
Saxon as
standout,
well.
I think.
And I like the Tocqueville design and stuff
And we
like
get
that.
more time with the Jones family.
Oh, great. Can't wait to see what Leo's up to.
Down in Cornwall, isn't he? Devon, where it
Yeah,
was.
he just sods off with his kid
Yeah.
and his wife.
Bye.
Because he's a character in the show for some reason.
Because contractual reasons with Reggie Yates, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be a fun fact about it.
Probably, yeah. And I think the ending is certainly quite something as well.
Mm-hmm.
I quite enjoy the setup with regards to that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the Sound of Drums where the Doctor gives like the speech about Gallifrey, and we see like flashbacks of it.
Yeah.
To like learn about the Master and stuff, and obviously he finds out about Jack and Torchwood and stuff.
Schism.
Yes, that's the one. So a bit of backstory with that. Outside of that, I cannot tell you a thing that happens.
That's basically it.
Yeah, I really don't know what happens for 45 minutes.
Yeah. That's fair. I think this one is definitely the slower of the 3, but I like that because it does give more character moments, and it does gives you the nice, and there's still action sprinkled throughout, which helps. Helps that John Sim is a great actor and his character with the Master is great. There are a lot of good moments between Jack, Martha, and the Doctor. I feel this doesn't do On the Run as well as Torchwood Children of Earth does On the Run. I think they do a better job in that one with the Torchwood team being on the run, rather than in this one. But I think that's probably where Russell's learned from to do it better in that one. But yeah, I do really like it. As I mentioned, this finale is like my favourite finale just because of I feel every episode is strong. I can't think of any criticisms for next week already, like off the top of my head.
No.
I generally, it might just be that Reggie Yates is in it. that Leo does nothing and he's pointless might be the criticism.
I mean, that's not a terrible one.
Because I really can't think of anything
out of
now.
everything we've covered so far, this is the episode I remember the least about.
Good.
So I'm really looking forward to checking that out.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I'm excited to see it again. I hope I'm not going to have a 42 situation like you will. I don't think that'll happen.
No.
Because at least this episode is more.
At least it has
it's better regarded around. Yeah, and it's better regarded by the fandom, whereas 42 was already.
It was already a bit dodgy.
Yeah, and then you
I really wanted it to be good because it was Chibnall.
Yeah.
I was like,
that was it.
I
You
can
were like,
stand
come
up
on.
and say no.
Yeah.
It's good actually.
You were wrong. Now we have to wait till his next
and
episode.
it's not. But that's fine because his next episode.
Isn't it the Silurians?
It might be actually.
I think it is, isn't it? The Hungry Earth and.
Yeah.
Whatever the other one is.
We'll see how I
Cold
feel about
something?
that. Cold Blood, yeah.
That's it.
R.I.P. Rory.
But yes, that is next week, The Sound of Drums. There'll be a number of other videos going up on the channel, I imagine, over the next couple of weeks, because obviously we've spent the day recording some stuff. I just haven't decided when they're going to go up yet. And obviously, this will go out, on the 20th-ish,
Sure.
which means...
Happy birthday.
I know, right? It is my birthday today, if it does go up. I've got no excuse, I've got the week off, so it should go up on Wednesday. But yeah, 2 weeks until the new series starts as well, ish. So as mentioned last week, obviously we'll be reacting to them quote unquote live on
Are we
your
going to
channel.
talk about the trailer?
Maybe. I haven't decided yet. Obviously there has been a trailer out recently. So if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. I'm still not sure how I haven't had
You
time
can't
to go
watch
in
my
depth.
reaction because they've locked it. Sorry.
Unlucky. So maybe we will then, just to get just to give you something. But we will be back talking about Series 13 when it does come out. Reactions on Liam's discussion on mine. But other than that, yeah, you'll see us plenty over the next few weeks. So we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Bye.